am Bute, defended his North American titles in Montreal, and we celebrate 2 years with the coach. There's all this and more on In This Corner with Russ Anber. Hi, everybody, and welcome to In This Corner. I'm Darren Detition, along with the coach. Yeah, it is our 2-year anniversary. The terrible twos. Right there. We're going to get to our little anniversary piece in a moment or two. Very busy week in the world of boxing. Some great matches.
Great matches, and I was busy on Friday night. I got to tell you how busy I was. We were at the Bell Center. As you know, we're going to show you the highlights of this card, but this is a look back at what was going on. Here I am with Anthony and Decarie. We're in the dressing room doing some hand wrapping, getting him ready for his fight. This was just before I went on this. We're looking at this is about 6:30 right now, getting our stuff ready. I'm getting all my cut stuff ready to go out. We get into the ring. There's Anthony coming in. He opened the show for Bute on this night in front of 8,500 people at the Bell Center, and he looked good right out of the gate. Boom, second round knockout, and that's where they waved it off, so you can tell I'm pretty happy right there. Now let's go do the second job now. Yeah, now we got to do my second job. Get back into the dressing. Now look at this. Get into the nice threads now, right? Get into my nice clothes because I got to get ringside. All right, off to the second job now. Yeah. Second job. Here we go, making my way through it. Look at all the people there, and we get in there in time for the Diaconu fight, and there I am, massacring the French language as we're doing the broadcast for pay-per-view in French. It was just great. I just had a wonderful time.
Did you want me to translate there, the French to English for here?
I missed having you there, though. That was you should have been there. It was a good night.
I kept sending you messages.
I know you did.
We will get to that fight in just a moment or two. We're going to analyze the Bute fight. He looked very, very good
this weekend
in that bout. But instead, we start with the rematch. You know, the first time that Marco Antonio Barrera and Rocky Juarez stepped into the ring, the accounting firm of Dumb & Dumber was working the fight. One incredibly inept judge miscalculated in what was originally ruled a draw, was changed to a split decision for Barrera. Now, the clerical error aside, Rocky Juarez showed a different side in that fight. He was not only competing with the brilliant Barrera, but perhaps even beating him. And that's why he felt outraged when the original decision was overturned. Well, on Saturday, Juarez was seeking redemption, but what he got was a boxing lesson by the baby-faced assassin.
Rocky Juarez, he says that he touched Barrera's title belt in L.A., thinking that that belt should be his. Larry, maybe his wish comes true tonight.
He says he'll make it come true by exposing Barrera as an old fighter, by taking more risks. We'll see.
It was a slugfest down the stretch in Los Angeles, and it was a boxing match for the first 4 or 5 rounds. The boxing match is seen to favor Barrera. Right hand over the top leg.
Rocky is a little slow getting started, but once he gets warmed up, he's still very dangerous. Tremendous little short punches. And once he starts getting close to Barrera, Barrera's going to have some problems.
There's some body shots from Juarez with authority. Get him out. Barrera with an uppercut.
That was the best punch of the fight, too, that uppercut.
Good right hand by Barrera. And a left hook to the body that bothered Juarez.
Good body shot. Juarez's right eye seems to be closing up.
That would be the Barrera jab. Crowd is booing because they came expecting to see the fight of the year. Instead, they're seeing a technical mastery performance by Marco Antonio Barrera, who is clearly happy to try to win this fight and be exciting the next time around. Floyd and Winky Wright are having a great time there. Funny enough, there was talk about them fighting each other last year.
Which I never took serious.
Less than a minute to go in what has been a brilliant professional performance by one of the greatest professional fighters of the last 20 years. And he goes Juarez down the stretch.
Putting on a Muhammad Ali performance.
As if to say, where were you? Where were you tonight? Well, you want to talk again about what happened in L.A.?
The winner by unanimous decision and still WBC Super Featherweight Champion of the World, the babyface assassin, Marco Antonio Barrera.
Tell you what
Who'd you pick?
The fight went basically the way I said it would. Barrera would outbox Juarez.
You're such a liar. I don't believe you. You're the kiss of death for the opponents.
No,
every time you pick them, they lose.
Well, listen, Marco Antonio Barrera looked fantastic in this fight. That is undeniable. Wasn't the war that people anticipated, though. It wasn't like he was stepping in there with Pacquiao or Morales or even the first fight against Juarez. They didn't slug it out in the center of the ring.
They didn't.
I mean, it was clinical.
And it should have been a slugfest. It should have turned into a slugfest. But he's so great. He's so smart. And the key thing, I thought it was going to be Barrera in a close war as well. I got the Barrera part right, but it wasn't a war. I told you that Barrera is smart. He's an intelligent guy. He learns from each fight, and he learned from the last one. In the same way, like with Eric Morales, he decided that this wasn't going to be an exchange of punches and power with Juarez, who may be one of the hardest punchers he's ever faced. But this, he was going to have to win with his mind, and that's exactly what he did. He got out there, he boxed and was patient and was a consummate professional and just beat him from pillar to post. It was a wonderful performance.
You're right. It was a very brilliant tactical performance by Barrera. You don't survive 68 professional fights by being stupid.
No, boss.
But what about Rocky Juarez? Why did he not close the gap and get in there and bang him?
That's a good question, Dutchie. I don't know why he didn't do that. He didn't take the risks that he promised us he was going to take. He said he was going to take it to him. He was going to open up earlier and take it right to him. But why didn't he? I think because the master had that. Right there, that spearing left jab, bang, right there, just snapping right at the end of it. And look at the range he's getting on that shot. Popping him from the outside, he knew exactly where Juarez was, and he kept feeding him that left jab, bang, again. And Juarez had no defense against it, and I thought that that was just a wonderful shot he was landing.
Oh, boy, he was fantastic in this fight, and according to him, he's not finished either.
No, he is certainly not finished, Dutchie, not at all. He wants Manny Pacquiao next. Now, that's biting off a big chunk right there in Pacquiao, who we know is an animal, hard puncher, and fast. But he wants to finish his career avenging the loss to Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, well, I wrote down here, never underestimate Marco Antonio Barrera. Again, I love the guy. You know I'm a big fan of him as a fighter. Now, our internet poll question last week was, well, who do you think would end up winning this fight? Would it be Barrera or would it be Juarez in the rematch? Well, overwhelmingly, you responded in favor of Barrera. 52% thought he would win by decision, and they were absolutely correct. All right, we have to take a short break. When we come back, Bute highlights a great card at the Bell Center in Montreal. We've got his fight, Adrian Diaconu, and more. You're watching In This Corner with Russ Anber.
Designed to perform.
Welcome back to the show. At 6'2", Bute is not a small super middleweight. He's got good size, and he can box or he can bang. He's also a southpaw. But with only 17 professional fights, he is a little bit shy on the experience side. Now, this past Friday, his education continued in Montreal as he faced James Obed Tony, an aggressive fighter out of Ghana who had only lost once in his professional career. The fireworks were going off early at the Bell Center. A big crowd for Bute.
8,500 people, brother, and you should have been there for this. I mean, the atmosphere was just electric, Dutchie, as he made his way into the ring. They're on their feet for it.
Right, 17-0 with 15 knockouts. As for his opponent, there's James Obed Tony from Ghana, a record of 21-1. And early on, he was chasing Bute around the ring, but Bute was pretty slick in his counterpunching.
Slick, and watch this here. This is in slow motion. Look how quick he gets off. Uppercut, hook, good three-punch combination from Bute as he's on the ropes. And there, a good, hard, straight left hand. Fourth round action. Bute has Tony hurt, and he goes for the kill. He wants it to end now, but here he gets a little careless. He just kind of throws and doesn't really settle down and pick his shots. He's kind of just winging, thinking that the referee, Mike Griffin, is going to move in and stop it on an accumulation of punches. Griffin is close to stopping it, but nothing really lands as Tony is bobbing, weaving, keeps his hands up. Bute doesn't get the precision punches that he wants, so the fight goes on.
Right. Tony would survive the round. We go to the 6th round.
Oh,
and
good hard
it's
body
a little
shot.
more from Bute from the outside.
And I'll tell you what, Tony put pressure on Bute. He tried to tire him out. But here, 8th round action, again, hard left hand, that one hurts him. This time, Bute's a lot sharper. Body, back up to the head, flurry of shots. Underneath with the uppercut, that hurts. And Mike Griffin is just one step away from stopping this one. Another flurry of punches, and that's it. Now, Tony wasn't bobbing and weaving. He took the shots, and look at the way he kind of staggers there. So that was the right call, and Bute, absolutely impressive.
Right. He was no longer even trying to counterpunch. He was stunned. Bute goes to 18-0 with another victory. What impressed you the most about his performance?
You know what? He just keeps getting better and better. I think the thing that impresses me the most is that this guy is not taking on cream puffs as he's making his way to the top of the super middleweight division. He's fighting tough guys. I think guys like Cabaret Salim, Christian Cruz, Andre Ticey, and now James Obed-Tony. I mean, this guy is fighting the iron. This guy is fighting warriors. James Obed-Tony could punch. We saw early in the fight that this guy had very, very heavy hands. I mean, the right hand and a very heavy left hook. You can see by his knockout record. But Bute was just so smart, so slick. He was so fast with his punches. I mean, I'm just speechless at how good this guy is.
Okay, you've seen Mikhail Kessler up close and personal. You've seen him fight. A lot of people regard him as the best super middleweight in the world. How close is the gap between Bute and Kessler at this point? Are they in the same league?
Okay, let's not. Maybe I'm not going to go into the Kessler thing, but I'll tell you this, and this was a quote I made Friday night. What do I think of Lucien Bute? I think he's in the top 5 super middleweights in the world, and that includes the 3 champions. That's what I got to say about that for now. And he's going to be on the card of the Mikhail Kessler, Marcus Bayer unification fight. And Calzaghe's on that card, and Bute's on that card. Super middleweight fiesta, brother.
No, I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
Lucien Bute did look fantastic. Now, Adrian Diaconu, who's another highly regarded fighter out of Montreal, another Romanian, he was also in the ring facing Orlando Rivera. Rivera with a record of 15-5-2. As for Diaconu, 22 fights, 14 knockouts. This one, a little more cagey, a pretty professional performance put forward by Diaconu.
To me, this was Diaconu continuing in his development and his evolution as a fighter. The last time he fought, there was a ton of mistakes. This time, a masterful performance. He stayed behind the jab against a much bigger Rivera. Rivera kept taking it to him. I think that Diaconu saw early that he tried to hurt Rivera but couldn't. This guy stayed right in there. So Diaconu just went to boxing. Southpaw, right-handed, stayed behind the jab. The jab was a fantastic weapon for him, and I thought the Shark was just brilliant in this, certainly in terms of his development.
Right, it was a shutout on 2 of the 3 cards. Diaconu with the victory. He goes to 23-0 with a unanimous decision. I said to you following the fight, you know, it was a professional performance by Diaconu. Normally we see him in there more aggressive, and you said, hold on. This was a great performance for Diaconu because he was more controlled in this fight.
The last fight he had, he made 72 different mistakes. This one, he might have made 2 different mistakes. I mean, he was just, to me, he's starting to put everything together. He's a murderous puncher. He's got great defense. He's hard to hit. He can go southpaw, he can go right-handed. To me, he is evolving as one of the premier fighters in the world, in the light heavyweight division. You thought I was nuts with what I said about Bute. Now you're going to think I'm nuts about Diaconu. I love this kid. I love his intensity. I love the way now he wants to learn to box, and his jab was just beautiful. I think he did a great job on that.
Listen, we know you're nuts.
Yeah.
You're also, but you're also nuts. No, you're nuts about Sebastien Gauthier, too.
Absolutely. And Gauthier was also showing knockout power on Friday night, and he got out of the gate early. This guy's going to be a stud. Knockout power, one of the hardest punchers pound for pound in Canadian boxing right now. There's the good uppercut right there. Bang. On his back, and again, Gauthier, and he's a finisher, too. He's a crowd pleaser. He wants to get guys out of there, and just a great performance from Gauthier. He improves to 8-0. Nice win for Gauthier.
All right, we have to take a short break. You just settle down for a moment or two. When we come back, we're going to talk. No, you do not. We're going to talk about some rumors, some possible bouts on the horizon, some very interesting matchups being thrown around. We've got all the details. You're watching In This Corner with Russ Anber. Division, the consensus champ is Israel Vazquez. He is the man that everybody is chasing, including Canada's Steve Mullerton. Now, perhaps someday they will end up in the ring. On Saturday, Vazquez was on the undercard of the Barrera Juarez rematch. Now, Vazquez is 40-3, defending his WBC title against Jhonny Gonzalez, who's 33-4. And this was a wild fight. Both guys hitting the canvas.
Boy, early in the fight, it was Gonzalez all the way through. A hard left hook drops Vazquez, and through the first 6 rounds, it was Gonzalez in a romp. I mean, Vazquez couldn't get anywhere near him.
Right, he had 2 knockdowns, but then in the 7th round, though, it turned for the champ.
Boy, did it ever turn. That hard right hand, and Gonzalez, the fight seemed to be just drained out of him. Vazquez, probably one of the hardest punching junior featherweights in the world, just kept it up, and there's a good hard left hook, followed by the jab, a flurry of punches, and again, Gonzalez just can't can't stay up. What a come-from-behind victory for Israel Vazquez.
Right, his corner would stop the fight. Vazquez retains his title with a 10th round TKO. Meanwhile, Jorge Barrios stripped of his super featherweight title after coming in, believe it or not, overweight, taking on Joan Guzman.
And Guzman should be stripped of the title for wearing shorts like that. They should outlaw boxing shorts like that, but certainly can't outlaw the ferociousness of Guzman. I mean, he came out early trying to end it in the first round, and Barrios just resisted, but Guzman goes on to win. They gave it to him in a split, but I thought, you know, he clearly dominated the fight. I thought he won the fight.
I know, but they were swinging like maniacs in that bout. Some more boxing news to pass your way, and surprise, surprise, Bernard Hopkins says he's considering unretiring to face, believe it or not, WBC heavyweight champ Oleg Maskaev. Hopkins said the state of the heavyweight division in America is dead. Only Bernard Hopkins can bring the title back to America, unquote. The executioner retired after becoming the undisputed light heavyweight champion with an easy victory over Antonio Tarver in June.
And Dutchie, WBA lightweight champion Juan Diaz has surprisingly signed with promoter Don King. The 23-year-old baby bull is 30-0 and decided to join King after reports had said that he was going to go with Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy promotion. So this is kind of shocking news.
Yeah, speaking of De La Hoya, there are rumors of a possible rematch with Felix Trinidad. Reports are saying that the fight would have to happen at 160 pounds and that Trinidad is asking for $30 million just to step into the ring.
There have also been discussions behind the scenes about a fight between Shane Mosley and our boy Antonio Margarito. In order for the fight to go ahead, Margarito would need to defeat Joshua Clotto on December 2nd, and rival promoters Bob Arum and Oscar De La Hoya would have to come to some sort of an agreement.
Listen, you and I talked about this from time to time. Whenever we had Bernard Hopkins on the show, you never really felt like he was leaving the fight game, that he loved it too much. He didn't want to step away from the ring. I'm not necessarily surprised that he wants to return and unretire. I'm a little surprised that he wants a piece of Oleg Maskaev.
You know what? Maskaev, though, in terms of size, is probably the closest thing. You know, if you were going to make the move up, he's the closest guy. He's one of the shorter heavyweights in there, you know. And I'll tell you what, the key in this is he wants to be trained by Mackie Shilstone. He wants Mackie Shilstone to bulk him up. He says he needs 9 months to get up to heavyweight size because he wants to still be flexible and strong. So,
yeah, but does he have a false sense of security, though? Coming off that easy win over Antonio Tarver, does he think he can pretty much step into the ring with anybody?
Are you going to pick Maskaev? You're picking Maskaev. You didn't learn, did you?
I don't make predictions anymore.
That's right. Okay, good. Let's wait to see if that one happens. I'm excited about that. That's a heck of a challenge for him to be making. I'm thrilled by that he's making that kind of. I mean, to me, that's big interest.
Right. What about, do you have interest in the potential of Oscar De La Hoya and Tito Trinidad returning to the ring?
That looks like a money grab to me. That looks like, you know, Tito just trying to get a money grab. I'm not so sure we should turn around and give $30 million to somebody who got his butt handed to him by Winky Wright.
And you know what I find interesting too is, you said for the last few months everybody's ducking Antonio Margarito, but now it looks like Sugar Shane might step up to the plate. That I would like to see. You know, 2 years ago, in their infinite wisdom, TSN decided that they needed a boxing show, and so they searched far and wide across the country for a knowledgeable, interesting, and enthusiastic pugilistic expert. They had to settle for Russ. Then the poor man got stuck with me, and the next thing you know, we're celebrating our 2-year anniversary. They said it wouldn't last. Happy anniversary, partner.
I should go up there and hug you now.
No, stay over there. I'll swat you.
I couldn't be busier. The Bell Center all Saturday, all day. The fight, Johnson and Tarver at night. I'm punchy now.
No, and you know what? We're going to start with Tarver and Johnson, too. And you were punchy prior to this weekend. Ding, ding.
Let's go now.
Exactly.
Look at you with the fine threads here. What?
You know, Mr. George Chavallo is our guest
And you should
today.
be honored when he gets here, okay?
And I am.
All right.
As a matter of fact, I'm looking forward to talking to somebody who
Very
knows
nice.
a thing or two about boxing.
Stop rushing me because this is important.
You are the hardest working man in boxing. You were working again this weekend?
Thursday in Montreal, Friday in Orangeville, and Saturday in Brampton. So I've been busy. And now here with you. So I got to work this much to make as much as you do.
No, you got to work this much just so you can pay off your Super Bowl bet to me. Hi, everybody, and welcome to In This Corner with Russ Anber. I'm Darren Detition, along with the coach. We are glad you tuned in. We got the biggest mouth in boxing on the show today. And I'm not talking about Mr. Russ Anber. I'm talking about pretty boy Floyd Mayweather.
That's good. Okay, thank you. I was your worst nightmare this weekend. When you got up Saturday morning,
Monday through Sunday, you're my worst nightmare.
Listen, this show,
yeah,
you have nothing else to say.
Boy, we got a brand new corner.
Look at this. We're large, baby.
And it looks pretty good. No, spiffy set, same two clowns.
I'm Sebastien Gauthier from Enderbox. Congratulations for in this corner. It's great watching you, and you know, successful second year. So you know, just go on. It's really nice.
You know, I really don't know if we entertain anybody else, but we sure entertain each other. Coming up next, it's Russ's Final Flurry. Russ's Final Flurry. Our first question comes from Craig Marchand from Brooklyn, Ontario. Russ, he wants to know, do you think that Jhonny Gonzalez's corner should have stopped the fight against Israel Vazquez?
Okay, all right. Don't ask me the next question, because I want to finish up with this one first, and I'm really upset at this. I was mad on Saturday night when I watched the fight, and I heard Larry Merchant say, oh, why are they stopping the fight? You know, why did this corner stop it? How can you ever question a corner stopping a fight? We always criticize a referee when we say he jumped in too late, and now we're criticizing the corner for stopping a fight in a fight where Gonzalez was seriously hurt. I just want to remind all of you out there, this marks today, not only does it mark our anniversary, but sadly it also marks the one-year anniversary of the death of Levander Johnson in his fight where he didn't win a single round and his corner didn't stop the fight. Enough said. Next question.
Right, and we saw the highlights. Jhonny Gonzalez was seriously hurt in that bout. The next one comes from Martin Lee in Toronto. He wants to know what happened to Andrew Cooner in his Friday fight in England.
Yeah, that wasn't good. Okay, let me tell you the chain of events which happened, how I heard the story. We were in Montreal when I got word of the result. Mark Ramsey, who is Andrew Cooner's trainer, couldn't make the trip to England. So Robert McCracken over in England took care of Andrew while he was there. Mark Ramsey was here with Antonin Decarie for his fight at the Bell Center, and we got word that he lost the fight. He was stopped in the third round. But let me point out something to you. They accepted a fight against a guy named Shini Bayar. Not many people are going to know who that is, certainly not a household name. But just to give you an idea of what kind of a dangerous opponent this guy was, his first pro fight on record was a 10-round draw. Mark Ramsey did not want this fight. He contacted England. This was a replacement fighter. He tried to get it canceled, and they said, no, don't worry, this guy's nothing. Well, they made a bad mistake. 4 fights ago, this guy lost a 10-round decision to Martin Power, who was 15-0, undefeated. This was too big a step for Cooner this early, and he got stopped in the third round. All
right, Jean-Francois of Montreal wants to know, what do you think of the punching power of Edwin Valero, who is a punching machine?
Oh, my God. This guy, first-round knockouts. All his fights were first-round knockouts till he gets a title shot. Then he still shows that he's a puncher and knocks guy out in the 10th round. You're going to hear about this guy. He's an exciting fighter. Jean-Francois got me turned on to this guy, brought me a DVD to watch, and this guy is devastating. Pay attention to this kid.
Okay, the next question comes from British Columbia. Are smelling salts illegal in the sport of boxing?
Yes, they are. Illegal in boxing. Now, you're going to ask me why, right?
Why?
A good question. Why? The reason is because if there is if you do have an aneurysm or whatever, and you do take ammonia smelling salts, they could aggravate it even worse. So that's the reason why smelling salts are illegal in boxing.
Perfect. I did not know that. Excellent question. And that's going to do it for this edition of Final Flurry.
Again, we don't get it.
No, that's because you take too much time.
Happy
hey, listen,
birthday, man.
We got another year to get after it. From all of us here, thanks for watching, folks.